Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Welcome to Let's Talk About Us. I'm Zach, and today we're covering some news that the left side of politics did not want to cover, either because it doesn't interest them, it doesn't align with what they are trying to say, or it's just not important. We'll find out shortly. This is from the National Review. The National Review has 2 right-leaning ratings as well as a lean right rating. Has 1 mixed factuality rating as well as a high factuality rating. And for some reason it doesn't say who they're owned by, so that's weird. Also concerning. Boston public schools under fire for separating employees into racial affinity groups.
That is... yikes.
By Haley Strack. Boston Public Schools is facing a federal investigation into its efforts to separate staff into various race-based affinity groups, including one group for whites only, which could be a violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
Can we just not?
Yeah, definitely could. BPS's use of affinity groups to divide employees and individuals based on race may fall under employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Watchdog group Parents Defending Education said in a letter to the director and regional attorney of the Boston area office of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, this week. The letter asks the EEOC to investigate whether the district excludes certain races from such groups. If a district's racially segregated teacher support programs would earn a stamp of approval from the KKK, something has gone terribly wrong. And the fact that no administration in the district seems to have opposed this programming raises additional red flags. PDE President Nikki Niley said, "It's not rocket science. Including or excluding public school staff from opportunities on the basis of skin color is wrong."
Yeah, duh.
PDE pointed to multiple examples of BPS using race-exclusive training guides and curricula. One affinity group, for example, called White Staff and Parents Challenging Racism, appears to be for white people only, PDE wrote in its letter. In reference to that specific affinity group, one guide instructs participants to learn more about each other as white people, which indicates that only one race is allowed in the affinity group, PDE wrote. In a public school document explaining the guidelines and best practices for affinity groups, BPS notes that the groups are foundational for creating anti-racist departments or schools. In the guidelines, BPS explains the value of distinct affinity groups based on racial ethnic identity. For various reasons, resistance to affinity groups, lack of skilled facilitators, urgency of particular triggering events, a school or a department may choose to begin with interracial discussion. However, holding affinity groups early and often will greatly improve the likelihood that later interracial dialogue will be honest, constructive, and effective, BPS says on the document. Okay. So, no, it is not it's not what they were originally claiming. So this is like, critical race theory, right?
That's a bad word.
This is where basically they just teach the teachers history and like the history of everybody, including white people in America, and they don't hold back, right? This is them, showing the teachers the ugly part of history as well, and I think I know why the left isn't reporting on this. Because honestly, if BPS is doing what I think they're doing, yeah, that's totally wrong. Like, you don't teach that way when it comes to adults, when it comes to dealing with people of different races, religions. If you're going to teach it, it's a group event. I can't believe I'm having to read this. Okay.
Moving on.
One resource, BPS encourages staff to review details the value of anti-racist affinity groups for white people and the role of white people in ending racism. Another promoted resource explains why people of color need their own affinity group spaces. Race-based affinity groups for people of color can give participants an opportunity to discuss and build the capacity for anti-racist work, deepen their understanding of patterns of white culture, privilege, and supremacy, the district says. Affinity groups restricted to white people are a place for white people to take responsibility for their own learning and to face their indoctrination and participation in white supremacy, BPS says in the guidelines.
Shame, shame, shame!
If staff are interested in interracial conversations or community meetings, BPS advises employees to have in the meetings 2 co-facilitators who represent 2 of the largest demographic groups represented in the meeting. What?
I am the Watcher.
Are you saying that, like, they have to have, you know, a school-approved, race-based nanny for their conversations? What the hell? Oh, okay. The co-facilitators should consciously plan the roles each will take during the meeting. For example, sometimes it is helpful if a white facilitator steps in if a white participant goes off track.
Do you hear yourself?
BPS also warns staff to ensure that none of the participants, particularly white participants, dominate the conversation. Oh, buddy. Yep. Okay. PDE first discovered BPS's promotion of affinity groups years ago when the district launched and expanded its efforts to create anti-racist spaces. The groups send a detrimental message that students, faculty, etc. process events differently on the basis of race, Knightley said at the time. BPS said in a statement to Fox News that affinity group membership is voluntary and anyone is able to participate.
That changes everything.
Okay. This might be the saving grace on this. The fact that the school isn't requiring their teachers to do it, they might be able to get away with the way that they're doing this. And added that any complaint received is thoroughly reviewed and investigated in accordance with our established procedures and in compliance with applicable laws. Okay, if you're going to teach critical race theory and all of history, not just the nice parts of history, to your teachers or to your employees, don't beforehand segregate the teachers based on race. I can't believe I'm having to actually like say this out loud. I would think
It's common sense, Clyde!
I would think someone, especially in an official setting, would know, like, oh, this is probably not a good idea. Like, I agree with the message. I agree with what they are teaching and not holding back in what they are teaching. But this ain't the way, bro. This is not the way.
This is not the way.
Yeah, that's the end of the article. This has been Let's Talk About Us. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. It's my Friday for my work, so I'm so happy. I'm going to sleep in tomorrow, and tomorrow's video will probably be a little bit late, but that's okay. Stay classy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
See you tomorrow.